story begins high above the mountains of Afghanistan, where two military pilots are carrying out what appears to be a routine mission. The skies are calm and nothing seems out of the ordinary, but in an instant, everything changes. Armed insurgents suddenly launch an assault, striking both aircraft with devastating precision. With their jets critically damaged and spiraling out of control, the pilots are forced to eject. Their parachutes deploy just in time, allowing them to survive the fall. However, landing safely is only the start of their nightmare. The insurgents quickly begin tracking them across the barren desert landscape. During the desperate struggle to escape, one of the pilots makes the ultimate sacrifice, giving his life to save his partner. Left behind is Flight Lieutenant Sinclair, now completely alone in hostile territory. Determined to survive, Sinclair pushes forward through the unforgiving wilderness in search of safety. After hours of wandering, she stumbles upon a mysterious structure hidden among the rocky terrain. Before she can investigate, the pursuing insurgents catch up and open fire. Outnumbered and exhausted, Sinclair fights back but is rapidly running out of options. Then, without warning, an explosion erupts near the entrance of the strange structure. A rocket impacts the doorway, blasting it wide open. With no other path to escape, Sinclair rushes inside. She discovers an underground bunker descending deep beneath the earth. Carefully moving down a long staircase, she enters a place that appears untouched for decades. Darkness surrounds her. There are no lights, no sounds, and no signs of recent human activity. Using a flare to guide her way, Sinclair ventures deeper into the abandoned facility. As she explores, she uncovers unsettling clues suggesting that something dangerous was hidden there long ago. Among the debris, she notices a small handheld video recorder. Hoping it contains answers, she picks it up and continues onward. Meanwhile, the insurgents manage to enter the bunker. As they search through the facility, they succeed in restoring power to the ancient complex. One by one, overhead lights begin flickering back to life. The illumination reveals a horrifying sight. Lining the walls are rows of enormous glass containment chambers. Inside them stand strange humanoid figures. They resemble people, but their appearance is disturbingly unnatural. Moments later, gunfire echoes through the bunker as Sinclair and the insurgents encounter each other again. During the exchange, a bullet accidentally strikes one of the glass chambers. The container shatters. A mysterious creature crashes onto the floor. The insurgents assume the being is either dead or harmless, but they couldn't be more wrong. Hidden inside a maze of pipes, Sinclair watches as the creature slowly begins to move. It wasn't dead at all. It had simply been dormant. Within seconds, it rises to its feet and unleashes brutal violence upon everyone nearby. Possessing incredible strength and speed, the creature tears through the insurgents with terrifying efficiency. As panic spreads throughout the bunker, Sinclair desperately searches for a way out. She eventually reaches an exit, only to be seized by one of the surviving insurgents. Before he can harm her, the creature attacks him instead. Taking advantage of the distraction, Sinclair escapes to the surface. Back outside, she turns and fires repeatedly at the monster as it emerges from the bunker entrance. The barrage forces the creature to retreat back underground. Nearby, another surviving insurgent catches sight of the monster and flees in absolute terror. Soon afterwards, Sinclair notices military vehicles approaching her location. A rescue team has arrived. Leading the operation is Sergeant Hook. Hook explains that a search mission was launched after communication with the pilots was lost. Sinclair sadly informs him that her fellow pilot was killed while protecting her. The rescue team escorts her back to a nearby military base. Once there, Sinclair asks whether her family has been informed that she's alive. Hook assures her that the message has already been delivered. Later, Sinclair meets with the commanding officer and provides a full account of everything she experienced. She tells him about the hidden bunker, the glass chambers, and the creature she encountered underground. To her frustration, the Major refuses to believe a word of it. He argues that Sinclair endured a traumatic ordeal and is likely confusing reality with stress-induced memories. According to him, no bunker exists in that region, and he sees no reason to send soldiers chasing a story he considers impossible. Disappointed and exhausted, Sinclair requests permission to return home. The answer is immediate. No one is leaving. Before ending the meeting, the Major quietly confiscates the camera recorder she recovered from the bunker. Later, Sinclair discusses the situation with Hook. She struggles to understand why the Major is so determined to ignore her warnings. Hook reveals that the Major was once a highly respected colonel before being transferred to this isolated posting under mysterious circumstances. During a medical examination, Sinclair notices a familiar face among the detainees. It's the same man she encountered near the bunker. The military had captured him earlier. As Hook joins the conversation, Sinclair once again describes the creature she saw. Hook remains doubtful. If such a being truly exists, he asks, why has it never appeared on satellite imagery? Sinclair explains that the bunker seemed extremely old and that warning signs written in Russian were posted on its entrance. At that moment, the captured man speaks. Unlike Sinclair, he understands Russian. According to him, the warning on the bunker door contained a simple but chilling message: "Do not open." Looking directly at Sinclair, he tells her that opening the bunker was a catastrophic mistake. Sinclair then describes the rows of chambers and the creatures hidden inside them. To her surprise, the man believes every word. For the first time, Hook begins taking the story seriously. If the bunker is truly decades old, perhaps the creature Sinclair encountered isn't human at all. And far beneath the surface, inside the dark facility, more of the sleeping beings are slowly awakening. Back at the military base, Sinclair continues questioning the captured man about his connection to the insurgents. The man explains that he was never a fighter, he worked only as a driver. Helping them wasn't a decision he made willingly. If he had refused, they would have hunted down his family. For him, cooperation was the only way to keep the people he loved alive. The driver insists that he has never taken an innocent life. Every action he made was driven by fear and the desire to protect his family, but before anyone can question him further, chaos erupts once again. The creatures have found the military base. Without warning, they launch a brutal assault on the compound. Inside her tent, Sinclair suddenly senses movement. A creature slips through the shadows and slowly advances toward her. As it draws closer, horrifying tendrils unfold from its face, revealing a biology unlike anything known on Earth. At that same moment, the captured driver manages to break free from his restraints. Acting without hesitation, he grabs a nearby sword and charges. Swing after swing crashes into the creature until it finally collapses. Elsewhere in the base, another creature attacks the Major. Caught completely off guard, he desperately fights back with a baseball bat. After a violent struggle, he manages to survive long enough for Hook and another soldier to arrive and pull him to safety. Across the compound, Sinclair and Hook work together to defend the remaining personnel. Realizing the base can no longer be held, they gather the survivors and retreat into a large shipping container, using it as a temporary refuge. The Major's injuries are severe, and tension begins rising among the survivors. Several soldiers question whether the former militant can be trusted. Sinclair immediately comes to his defense. She believes he has been honest from the beginning. Wanting answers, Hook asks the man what he knows about the creatures. For several moments, the driver remains silent. Then he begins telling a story passed down through generations. He explains that many years ago, when Afghanistan was under Soviet control, something fell from the sky. Most people believed it was a divine sign, but according to local legends, it was something far more dangerous, something connected to war, something that did not belong to this world. Soon after its arrival, strange disappearances began occurring throughout nearby villages. Men vanished, women vanished, entire families disappeared without explanation. Occasionally, mutilated remains would be discovered, leading people to blame wild animals roaming the wilderness, but the truth was much darker. Eventually, the driver's father gathered several villagers and set out to investigate the mystery. Their search led them directly to the hidden bunker. None of them were ever seen again. When morning arrives, the survivors cautiously emerge from the shipping container. An eerie silence hangs over the base. There are no voices, no movement, no signs of life. Every fallen soldier has vanished. The creatures have taken them all. While searching through the damaged camp, the group discovers the body of a creature that somehow remained behind. A military technician begins examining it. What he finds changes their understanding completely. The creature possesses rows of razor-sharp teeth and an incredibly dense skeletal structure. Its body explains why conventional gunfire has little effect, but the most shocking discovery comes from its cellular makeup. Human DNA is present throughout its biology. The creatures are not entirely alien. At some point, they were human. Meanwhile, the injured Major finally regains consciousness. Realizing there's no longer any reason to keep secrets, he reveals classified information he has hidden for years. The military already knew about the bunker. According to intelligence records, Soviet forces discovered a crashed extraterrestrial spacecraft decades earlier. The wreckage contained biological material from an unknown life form. Scientists secretly began experimenting on the specimen. Their objective was simple: combine alien genetics with human DNA. The result became the creatures now hunting them. The Major also believes the creatures were never interested in simple slaughter. They were studying humanity, observing behavior, testing weaknesses, learning how humans think and fight. Before anyone can react to this revelation, the supposedly dead creature suddenly reawakens. The room erupts into panic. Understanding there is no time left, the Major makes a final choice. Grabbing an explosive charge, he throws himself directly at the creature, and a massive explosion follows. The creature is destroyed, so is the Major. His sacrifice saves everyone else. Following his death, the survivors reach a unanimous decision: the bunker must be erased forever. Before departing, Hook tells the former militant that he is free to leave. No one will stop him, but the man refuses. Instead of running, he chooses to stay and help finish what has begun. Armed with explosives, the team makes its way toward the bunker. Then disaster strikes once again. A creature suddenly appears and seizes Hook, dragging him into the darkness. Sinclair hears his desperate shouts. He orders her to leave him behind to save herself. She refuses. After everything they've survived together, there's no chance she is abandoning him. Determined to rescue him, Sinclair charges back into the bunker. The others follow. Meanwhile, one of their teammates monitoring radio communications receives alarming news. An airstrike has been authorized. The entire sector is scheduled for destruction. The countdown has already begun. Deep inside the facility, Sinclair eventually locates Hook. The discovery is horrifying. He is trapped within a chamber filled with the remains of soldiers collected by the creatures. Before anyone can free him, another creature attacks. A long appendage lashes out and grabs Hook. Refusing to surrender, he fights with everything he has. After a brutal struggle, he breaks free and kills the creature. By now, the team has learned a crucial weakness. The creatures can only be reliably neutralized through catastrophic damage to the head. Moving deeper into the underground complex, Sinclair enters an enormous chamber unlike anything she has seen before. At its center rests the source of everything: the original alien, the being that arrived on Earth decades ago aboard the crashed spacecraft. Then the creatures attack again. This time they come in overwhelming numbers. One of the soldiers makes a courageous decision. Carrying a bundle of explosives, he charges directly into the advancing swarm. The explosion tears through the creatures, eliminating many of them, but he does not survive. Now only Sinclair, Hook, and one remaining teammate are left. They race toward an elevator leading to the surface. Using their radios, they signal an ally waiting above ground to pull them out. Then everything starts going wrong. Outside, armed militants suddenly attack the man operating the extraction equipment. Unable to maintain control, he loses the system. At the same time, damage from previous explosions causes the elevator mechanism to fail. The platform jams. A massive vehicle begins sliding toward the trapped survivors below. As if that wasn't enough, more creatures launch another assault. Amid the chaos, the former militant notices something impossible. One of the creatures bears a distinctive mark he recognizes instantly, the same mark his father once carried. The horrifying truth becomes clear: his father never died, his father became one of them. Moments later, the falling vehicle crashes towards Sinclair. The driver reacts instantly. Pushing her out of danger, he sacrifices himself. His final act saves her life. Now only Sinclair and Hook remain. Fighting their way to freedom, they finally reach the surface and reunite with their surviving teammate. There is almost no time left. The incoming airstrike is only moments away. As they retreat from the area, missiles begin raining down from the sky. Massive explosions consume the landscape. The bunker disappears beneath fire and rubble. As the dust settles, only 3 survivors remain: Sinclair, Hook, and one final teammate. The nightmare is over, but the secrets buried beneath the desert may never be forgotten.